In Pit Lane would like to acknowledge the support of the following sponsors. We thank them for their support of In Pit Lane. Welcome to another edition of In Pit Lane, coming to you right across Melbourne and Geelong on Channel 31, and of course if you're watching us live on YouTube, on the In Pit Lane YouTube channel. Now, coming up this weekend at Phillip Island, it's a meeting that we love every year. It's called Island Magic, and it's certainly magic, and we'll be previewing the event a little bit later on. We're joined from the Phillip Island Auto Racing Club, one of their chief commentators. We've got Stephen DeVries will be joining us a little bit later on the program. Also coming up, we've got some great live music from Matt Synner. Doc is with me again, but Doc, we don't even have time to say hello at the moment.
It's getting like that every week, but we've been a busy little beavers on the weekend though, haven't we?
We have been, and you can see just how busy we've been for some of it when we go to the In Pit Lane Motorsport News.
I'm giving you...
Entries from all over Australia descended on Phillip Island for the Australian Super Sprint Championships. The event attracted a diverse range of cars from road-going weekend races through to some of the country's fastest time attack cars. The fastest cars of the weekend were in Group 1, with several of the country's top hill climb cars on hand to fight it out for the fastest lap. Douglas Barry in his 4.5 litre Buick Lola was the fastest of the weekend with a quickest lap of 1:24.14 to edge out Dean Tigers Delara Judd by a mere 600ths of a second. That's faster, by the way, than the official lap record at the island, currently held by Simon Wills' Formula Holden. Richard Perini in his wild-looking Ginetta G55 was the fastest of the open sedans. A Ginetta Sport sedan. Now there's a thought. Sunday also saw the track play host to the final round of the Victorian Superkart Championships. A huge combined field made for a great sight as these pocket rockets raced around the 4.5 kilometre circuit, with the top 250 internationals lapping faster than a V8 supercar. The 250 Internationals was won by Jamie McDonald, who also took out the championship. The 250 National class went to Raf Peronti. It was a clean sweep to Nick Shembry in the 125 gearbox class, winning all 4 races to wrap up this year's championship. Jeff Duckworth was the winner of the growing stock Honda class, also taking the state title. Recent guest on In Pit Lane, Kobe Williams, was the winner in the Rotax Lights, but it was Sanuja Pereira who won the state championship. Colin McIntyre was the winner of both the weekend and the championship in Rotax Heavy, and the Dunlop Junior Series went to Hayley Thompson. Erebor supercar driver Anton Di Pasquale may have crossed the line first, but it was John Martin who was declared the winner at the second ever S5000 event held last weekend at the Bend in South Australia. Di Pasquale was penalised twice, once for tagging his teammate Thomas Randall on the first lap of the race, and the second time for a jump start, with the 15-second hit dropping him back to 4th position. The penalty also moved Thomas Randall into second, with Will Brown in third. Only 10 cars fronted for the race, but a much larger field, including a number of high-profile international drivers, are expected for the opening round of the inaugural series at Albert Park in March. Dutch driver Richard Verschoor has won a thrilling Macau Grand Prix, holding off pole sitter and pre-race favourite Red Bull Formula One Junior Jury Phipps. Verschoor, in his first visit to Macau, qualified third on the grid and passed Phipps after a safety car restart late in the race. It was a dramatic start to the Grand Prix as the 2019 European Formula 3 champion Robert Schwartzman and ART Grand Prix Christian Lundegaard touched in the rundown to Lisboa, with Schwartzman, one of the pre-event favourites, forced to retire. Vips led the race, but a safety car brought out when Leo Pulcini and Ferdinand Hasberg hit the barriers, changed the race completely. Verschoor pulled off a great move at Lisboa on the restart, and while Vips attempted multiple moves to take the lead, Verschoor was able to hold on for his biggest win of his short career. Vips was a clear second from an impressive Logan Sargent, the young American rookie carving his way through the field in an attention-getting Macau debut. NASCAR has a new champion. Toyota driver Kyle Busch claimed his second NASCAR Cup Series title, winning the 2019 season finale at Homestead, Miami, and ending a 21-race winless streak into the bargain. Martin Truex Jr. had looked set to take the title after dominating the early stages of the race, but a botched pit stop when his crew put his tyres on the wrong side of the car ended his chance of a race win and his championship hopes. Busch passed Kevin Harvick late in the race and hung on to win from Truex and Eric Jones in a Toyota 1-2-3. More new champions, this time in the NHRA. Doug Galita went 3.716 at 332.67 to beat Australian driver Richard Crampton in the final round of Top Fuel. But Steve Torrance, who dominated so much of the season, was awarded the 2019 championship. Robert Hight only needed to stage his car to win the 2019 title in Funny Car. This allowed Jack Beckman a solo run to take the event win. In Pro Stock, Erica Enders won her third world title, but it was Jed Coughlin Jr. who ended his year on a strong note, winning the final over Fernando Cuadra. On a wild day in Pro Stock Motorcycle, Andrew Hines ended up with his sixth world championship in the class, earning the title after Jerry Savoy lost in the final round to Jelena Salinas. It was the first career Pro Stock Motorcycle victory for Salinas, who had a dream weekend. She started with a win against Hines after he red-lighted. She then followed up with wins against Steve Johnson, defending world champion Matt Smith, and finally Savoy.
You know, everybody says that when it's your day, it's your day. And I never believed that until right now.
Max Verstappen has won an insane Brazilian Grand Prix at Interlagos. Starting from pole, Verstappen led for most of the race, but behind him things were absolutely crazy. Ferrari's chances at the win were ended when its two drivers collided while dicing for position. Charles Leclerc had started back in 14th, but stormed through the field, briefly passing Vettel for 4th. Vettel was having none of that, however, and came back at him, and contact. Vettel was out with a puncture and Leclerc lost his suspension and his spot on Seb's Christmas card list. Lewis Hamilton was in pursuit of Verstappen. A late race stop for new rubber dropped him back to third behind Alexander Albon. Hamilton then hit Albon and he was given a 5-second penalty, dropping the world champion-elect to 7th and promoting McLaren's Carlos Sainz to his first podium finish in third, behind a delighted Pierre Gasly who had his best ever Formula One result with a second place for Toro Rosso. And the Marquez Express storms on. Marc Marquez wrapped up his dominant championship year doing what he's been doing all year long, winning. The Honda rider again stood at the top step of the podium, this time at the Valencia Grand Prix, finishing ahead of French rookie Fabio Quartararo. It was a great result for Australia's Jack Miller, who once again outlined his great potential with a strong third place. The race also saw the end of the career of Jorge Lorenzo. Lorenzo, a three-time world champion, made his announcement to quit the sport last week, citing his struggle with injuries after several big crashes. And that's the In-Pit Lane news for the week.
That was the In-Pit Lane news, and we'll have more news next week on our final show for season 2019. When we come back, we'll preview the big Island Magic meeting this weekend down at Phillip Island. You're watching In-Pit Lane on Channel 31. We'll be right back. Okay, for those of you watching on Facebook and the In-Pit Lane YouTube channel, we saw just then the retirement of Jorge Lorenzo, an incredible career over the years, and he's been replaced by someone interesting. It's been we've sort of known about it for some time, but Doc, there's another Marquez.
Been another Marquez lurking around. There's
It-
another Marquez that's been lurking around for 5 seasons in Moto 2. Has been heavily supported, but good to see. He's got a Guernsey for 1 year. It's only a 1-year contract for Repsol Honda, so I don't know whether it caught them by surprise at Repsol Honda, whether they thought that Lorenzo was actually going to pull the pin or not, because he stated all year that he was prepared to give it a go. Maybe even he was taunted to go back to Yamaha. So it was a bit of a surprise. So I reckon they've given him a 1-year deal. See how he goes. See whether there's any domestics in the the paddock.
I think that's going to be. I think that's going to be the thing. The team dynamics between the two brothers. I mean, siblings at the best of times can have their problems.
But he earned his stripes. He did 5 years. He's won the championship this year as well, though, too. He was dominant back in the Moto3 series years ago, back in 2014. I think he won the championship there as well, too. So he's done his apprenticeship, as they would say, Marquez. So, yeah, good luck to him. We'll see 1 year, but... yeah, maybe a satellite team might have been a good go.
Sad to see Lorenzo go out like that. It was injuries basically that really did destroy his career. He basically he had so much trouble recovering. I think after a while you do get to the point where you just go, no, I just can't.
Well,
do
he's
this
had
anymore.
to go at 3 manufacturers. He's got obviously factory rides for the whole 3, and also one little thing, it gives him more time to go back to Phillip Island and find his little finger that got chopped off years ago down there when he got stuck in the glove, and anyway they couldn't find it. But anyway, so
but he's been a very colourful character in MotoGP, and he's obviously been a champion. So so he's
much respected. I mean, Casey Stoner retired at the age of 26, 27. So
and he hasn't regretted it for a second. So that was interesting because everyone said, "Oh, he'll come back. He didn't."
I'd just like to leave it on one more note. Hopefully, like Casey did for many years, and he can go back and be a test rider and help out the community as well, too.
That's a possibility
and can contribute as well. So, good luck to Jorge, and please, give back to the game. It really helps the younger ones.
Now, we'll just let you know, for those of you watching on YouTube or Facebook, we are going to have some tickets to give away to Island Magic in our second break before our music with Matt Synner tonight. That's coming up in our second break. So that's an exclusive for everybody watching on YouTube and Facebook live tonight. We have some passes to give away to Island Magic this weekend, and we'll tell you how to get involved with that as well. Also, I'll let you know, I think we've got a lower third for this coming up this weekend on the In Pit Lane YouTube channel, also on the Adelaide Drag Racing Promotions Facebook page. We've got live drag racing. In Pit Lane will be live streaming the Roe Memorial this Saturday from Adelaide International Raceway. Stuart and I will be over there. We'll be bringing you, hopefully if all the technology works, we'll be twisting the wires and standing at funny angles to make sure that you get coverage of the Roe Memorial. It's a sensational entry list for the return of drag racing back to Adelaide International Raceway. Close to 200 cars, I think. It's going to be a packed day of racing. Not sure when we're going to start at this stage, but there'll be stuff. Keep following us on the In Pit Lane Facebook page and also on Twitter, and we'll be able to let you know exactly when those live streams will be happening. Might even have some stuff for you from the Test and Tune on Friday as well. We'll see how quickly things get set up over there. But that's coming up this week, which is why we won't be, why I won't be at Island Magic for the first time in, God, it's got to be at least 25 years or more.
How's it going to stand up? How's it going to go?
How will it survive without me?
Brett Ramsey. I'm sure they'll get a bye.
I'm sure they'll survive somehow. Let's go back to Channel 31 when we're ready, Pete, and we'll preview this with our guest Steve DeVries.
4, 3.
Welcome back to In Pit Lane. Well, coming up, as I said before the break, is one of the big events of the year. We sort of dubbed it a few years ago, Schoolies for Petrol Heads. It's the end of term party. It's a great meeting, lots and lots of fun, and it's not part of any series. It's not part of the state series. It is just a meeting in and of itself, an old-fashioned fair income race meeting. It's Island Magic. And to preview the big event is somebody who you'll be hearing over the commentary on the weekend. It's Stephen DeVries. Stephen, welcome to In Pit Lane.
Thanks for having me at short notice, Brett. It's been a bit of an interesting call up this afternoon, getting a call from the president of PIARC to come in and see you guys, but great to be here.
And when the president summons you, you do as you're told.
Yeah, you basically do exactly what he says. It's like being in the military. He says jump, you say how high.
There, yes.
Over that wall.
Over that wall, if you can make the distance.
There. So let's talk about Island Magic. As I said, it's got an interesting place in Australian motorsport because there's very few. There used to be meetings like this all the time, but now there are very, very few sort of standalone, open race meetings where people can just go for it, hell for leather, and not worry about series and what happens next round or last round or anything like that. It's just, a race in and of itself.
Yeah, absolutely. There's plenty of racing on the track this weekend. There's all sorts of different categories come down to Phillip Island. Some of them decide to make it a part of their own private club championships. So this weekend, Formula V and the sports sedans, that's their
part
final
of it,
rounds.
yep.
So there's a couple of championships in the local club sense to be decided there. But you're right, it's not part of the Island Magic, or the Island Magic's not part of the Victorian State Circuit Racing Championships. So it's good just to see a different variety of cars, especially some guys coming from interstate as well, to have a crack at some of these big trophies, especially the Ramada Resorts 50k plate race certainly attracts a lot of interest.
The interesting thing about the history of Island Magic is if you have a look at all of the races, what some people might not know, and I don't know whether you're even aware of it, is way back in the day, before most of the people in this room were born, probably all of you, was we had over the summer a whole bunch of individual race meetings at Phillip Island, which were televised live on what was Channel O in those days.
Yes.
And each one had a feature race. You know, the Matthew Flinders Plate, the Endeavour Cup, and all of these races. And now all of these famous races are now as part of Island Magic. And if you look into the history of who's won all of these races over the years, it's a very impressive roll call.
We've just got some homework,
motorsport.
Steve. That's homework for us now. Thanks, Brett. We didn't
Not a
know that.
problem.
Well, then don't copy my notes that are on my laptop. It tells me all this information. Because you're absolutely right, because some of the prestigious names are on this honour roll. I was looking through it before and actually found Bob Jane, believe it or not.
Yep.
He's one of the very, very first of the ones that's now moved over to improved production, which is the Matthew Flinders Plate. And that's one of the things I've been affiliated with for the last 18 or so months is improved production. So I have to get involved in all this history and understand all about this. So,
and I imagine we'll have a good field of improved production because they've just had their nationals. I imagine
Absolutely.
a lot of people coming back will make the sort of a double of it, like we saw at the Super Sprints on the way, with people who came down to Bathurst for the hill climb. Said, you know, like Dean Tighe said, I've come this far, I'm going to go and I'm going to do Phillip Island in that car. And that was so spectacular.
yeah, there's definitely a couple of interstate raiders. I look through the list here. There's definitely a few of them coming in from Queensland. So they obviously have gone down to Tassie for the Nationals. They're passing back through. Why not? Swing, left instead of right, going up the highway, come down to Phillip Island. And it's got a good field, actually. 33 cars in for improved production. But the biggest one of the weekend, I think, is the first time ever at Island Magic, we're going to have 2 one-hour GT races. So the sports cars have got a 1 hour race on the Saturday and a 1 hour race on the Sunday. So normally it's a half an hour on each day and you have a co-driver race and you can swap if you like. But this is the first time 2 1 hour events and about 30 GT cars,
So
Porsches.
that's unprecedented.
Yeah, absolutely unprecedented. So Porsches, there's a couple of Lamborghinis in there. There's even Richard Bendel's rolling out the Daytona Coupe and the Sin R1 as well. So some well-known cars coming out of Victorian State Championships into there as well. And the defending winners of that is Gary Higgin and Daniel Gaunt. They've won the last 3. Gary Higgins continuing on, but he's actually roped in Dean Canto to replace Daniel Gaunt. So a lot of people know Dean Canto from the Superkarts.
No talent there whatsoever, is there? No, look.
There's a lot of pressure on his shoulders to make it 4 in a row.
That's all right. Just don't worry about. He's just name dropping here. No, that's fantastic. Obviously, it's creating so much interest. A couple of representatives from In-Pit Lane went down last weekend and got burnt actually down there.
Yes.
They're starting to get like that now,
the
isn't
UV
it?
is exactly. You got to slip, slop, slap on even at Phillip Island when it's overcast and there's no sun in sight. But yeah, there was we were very surprised by the amount of interest that was in on supposedly a quiet weekend, which was just probably promoted as a superkart weekend, and 5 categories went down. There was cars everywhere last weekend.
It was a packed card. Now, for people who want to come along this weekend, give us some details. It's, as you say, racing over the 2 days. If people want to come along, and the thing, if people go along, unlike the supercars or anything like that, when you go in there, you can go into the pits, you can wander around, you can see all these people, you can talk to people about the cars. Just go through exactly what categories will they see. Just to go through the categories quickly. And
So this weekend we've got the Formula Ford Championships as well. So the Cool Drive Formula Ford 1600 and the Kent class cars as well, and the Duratec class cars. So they're going to be out there. What was the DEA Performance National Sports Sedan. Some of those guys are coming in so you can test the Ramada Resorts 50k plate for sports sedans. We've also got, as we said, the 2 1 hour races for the Q Industries sports cars coming in as well. So the 2 1 hour races. The historic touring cars will be down there as well. So that's a prestigious award that goes back a number of years as well. Saloon cars has unfortunately been dropped for this round, so they've only had 1 or 2 entries, so they've elected to scratch that one, unfortunately.
I was going to say, could they be able to fit them in with obviously a big card?
Absolutely. The Porsche 944 Challenge as well, which is part of the Porsche program nowadays, is there as well.
And they've had quite the revival this year.
They certainly have. Those cars are starting to get very, very pricey. I think there's a number of people wanting to buy into that category as the feeder, because obviously the prize is to go and race a cup car as well.
And being the Porsche, they're pretty reliable. That's why obviously the longevity of them as well.
That's right. And just to finish it off as well, we've got the Formula Vs and the improved production are the last two categories that are on the bill as well. And as we said, still a couple of club championships to be decided that are pretty close as well. The sports sedans and the Formula Vs. Yeah, well, this Formula Vs especially, because if it last state round's anything to go by, we had 3 races, and the combined finishing margin of all 3 races was something along the line of 0.04 of a second between all 3 races.
Another category that's really come back into its own this year after a couple of quiet years.
And a couple of debutants coming on for that as well, so look out for the next generation.
Okay, well, it sounds like as I say, it sounds like a great weekend. It's one of the best, most fun weekends I've had of motor racing many years ago was you can go down, you park your car by the side of the road, take a picnic lunch, take a barbecue, turn on the radio, you'll hear Steve over the radio, they retransmit the commentary over FM radio, so you can hear everything absolutely clearly. A great opportunity for you to get out on the weekend and to have some great motor racing action at Island Magic. And you will hear, of course, our friend superstar Steve DeVries this weekend here at Island Magic. Steve, thanks for joining us in Pit Lane.
Thanks for having me on board.
And we're going to take a break now. When we come back, we're going to have more for you, including music from Matt Synner. Don't go away. We'll be right back. Okay, well, yes, thank you. Now, this is a special treat for everybody watching on YouTube and Facebook Live tonight on Tuesday night. This is a special treat for you. We have passes to give away. We've got 6 passes to give away to Island Magic this weekend. So if you're watching us anywhere in Victoria and you would like to win a ticket to Island Magic, all you've got to do, you don't have to answer any questions or anything like that, just send us an email to the show at inpitlane.com and put in the subject Magic. That's all, and that way we'll find you and we'll draw people out at random tomorrow before I head over to Adelaide for the drag racing. And we will of course have footage next week from Island Magic. Doc's going down and we're going to get some. We'll have some news footage.
I'll be listening to Steve, of course.
I'll
be tuning into the radio just like you said, and I'll pack a sandwich and a compass and find my way back. But just quickly while we've got you as well too, Steve. So what a fantastic thing! 6 people can win that. How easy is that? Just put Magic in an email. Make sure you put your details in, of course, as well though too. So Brett knows how to get back to you.
Yeah, we'll leave your name because of the mail thing and all the rest of it. We'll leave names at the gate for the winners.
Sounds fantastic. So you just walk straight and
rock up
pass.
And drive through.
Exactly. Roadie's giving me a bit of dirt on you. He said it's R-rated. So are we after 9:30 yet? No.
No, we're not after. We've got to worry about the YouTube algorithms as well. They're very, very dangerous.
I'll edit this one out then.
You will definitely edit that one out.
You've got a little bit of driving experience. I won't go too much into the sim stuff. He said you've also been down to the Phillip Island and been around the track yourself in the BMW Mini as well too, thrashing that around.
Yeah, I've got a CAMS licence. I did it with Aussie Driver Search, so obviously they're now defunct. Went down for a bit of fun, and I did the BMW driving experience this year, and I was quickest through the slalom in the Mini Cooper Works, so got myself a little prize. So good just to do a little bit something different.
And you can understand what it's like to be a driver out there and going through some of the curves and creases.
Absolutely.
Good on you.
Okay, well, we're going to we've got some bonus music for you right now here on In Pit Lane. Matt Synner is going to join us a little bit later on to take us out from the program. We've got some bonus track from Matt right now, and if you want to see Matt live, you can see him at the Basement Cafe at Latrobe Street this Friday. Also this Saturday at the Deluxe Bar in an interesting spelling of Mooney Ponds. Mooney Ponds with 2 E's. But anyway, so Moon, it's a different suburb
That's
altogether.
where they drop their DAX at the pond.
Yeah, Mooney Ponds. That's the traditional there. He's also on Bandcamp and Spotify and all sorts of things. But we'll give you all those details later. But right now, with a bonus track for you, this is Matt Synner and I'm Falling. Matt Synner.
My sickness feeds off energy of those who come too close to me. You're on my leash, I drag you down. There's no sunlight through these big clouds. Out of control, I cannot change. I'm hurting you with all my rage. And now it's time to burn this bridge. And I will go and throw my life away, yeah. And I'm falling, the ground is gone, and I'm falling, There's no escape from my demons. They numb the pain in my feelings. I can't face you, I can't be saved. You reach for me, you're trapped and caged. So you go on, I'll die in ride. Save you from you, save all you got. And now it's time to burn this bridge. And I will go and throw my life away, yeah. And I'm falling, the ground is gone, and I'm falling, Let go, you can't stay here. Let go, don't watch me throw my life away, yeah. And I'm falling, the ground is gone, and I'm falling, there's no way out, and I'm sorry,
And that was Matt Synner, and I'm full. And we are very short-staffed tonight, so Doc and I jumped on camera. So there you go. So if you have any complaints about the camera work, write to me and Doc. Okay, so we're just setting up. Doc will be joining us back in a second. Now, just a reminder again that we do have that competition for you. For those of you watching on In Pit Lane and In Pit Lane YouTube channel, and also Facebook as well. And remember, if you're out there, really important if you're watching us on the YouTube channel, and we always say every week, I've sort of got to explain this. YouTube is a strange and wonderful beast. They have what are called algorithms, and it's all very complicated. But the thing is, it's not just it's not just how many people watch, it's how long they watch for, it's where they're watching from. It's also about your contributions, whether you subscribe to the channel. We have lots and lots of people watching, but a lot of people don't subscribe. And a lot of older viewers go, oh, yeah, I don't have the money for that sort of thing. You don't have to pay to subscribe to a YouTube channel. It's absolutely free. So you're getting something for nothing. So if for no other reason, go to the In Pit Lane YouTube channel and click on subscribe. And also there's a little bell, tiny little bell. It's about that big. Ding, ding. That's that big. Steve is providing sound effects for us, but it is that big. And you click on that.
I thought that was last drinks.
I think it will be very shortly.
It will be.
That's where I was when I was off the desk getting last drinks.
Oh God, I wish. Don't tempt me now. Bacardi and Coke would go down very, very well now.
Just before we get back to Channel 31, I do have a few comments. A big thanks to Shane Varley, who's the president down there.
Superkarts, yes, I guess last week.
He has given us a huge rap and said a thank you and the coverage that they got and a message and enjoyed being on the show last week. So
that's great. It was fun. It was fun to do that. I will say, I don't know, you probably found the same thing. That they are so hard to cover. They are so hard to shoot. They are so fast and so small.
I've still got gravel rash from being on the ground when I was actually getting them. No, I'm like,
it's so hard to call from the commentary box. You can't see them.
Yeah, they are. They're very hard, but they as we said sort of last week when Shane was on. You forget how quick they are through the corners.
You reminded me when we got down there. Don't forget, these things fly just as fast, if not faster, than a MotoGP bike.
Yeah, they're faster than that.
And the thing is, I feel for you a little bit. I'll come and say hi to you in the comments when I drop down Saturday, Steve, because they need a big number on their helmet, don't they? Or at least a significant colour.
They've got a big number. It's on the back of the car. Yes. Even that can't be picked up by a set of binoculars.
Exactly. The binnies aren't that much help especially when you slide on.
It was a great field, and it was good. I know that the ideal situation would be that everybody could run in their own class, but at least they're not too precious, unlike some people where they'll say, okay, we don't have enough numbers to make it. Let's run everybody together, and it was a great spectacle. It was around 50 karts or something they had. It was just fantastic, and hopefully we can do more with the Supercars this year. We used to cover all of their rounds. We used to film that a couple of years ago, quite a few years ago now. Probably when it was the first year we were here at Channel 31 when we came from Optus Vision. Right. We covered the entire Victorian Superkart season, and just fantastic racing, great footage.
Those whippersnippers absolutely fly.
Yeah, they do. Okay, speaking of flying, our time is flying away, so. We had better find out, I suppose. We'd better... our friends from the Motoring Diary incident, I'll tell you next week, there is a new, obviously for 2020, there is a new Motoring Diary just around the corner. It's being prepared. Tony spoke to me today about the new Motoring Diary coming up for 2020. So if you're a club or if you've got anything coming up in 2020, get in touch with the Motoring Diary and let them know what's happening so that you can be included in the Motoring Diary for 2020. But right now, let's find out what is happening this weekend, apart from and including Isle of Magic, as we checked out what's happening in local motorsport.
What's on in motorsport, brought to you by the Motoring Diary, your must-have guide for all motoring enthusiasts. What's happening this weekend? Well, I'm glad you asked. It's Island Magic, the annual end-of-term muck-up day for the class of 2019. There's classic events like the 50k plate for sports sedans, the Matthew Flinders Trophy, the Endeavour Cup, and this year, not one, but two, yes, two one-hour sports car enduros. It's always an entertaining weekend, and if we're very lucky, the weather might even be good as well. Plus, Wyndham plays hosts to the Alpha Sprint. It's a race to regularity event for the Alfa Romeo Owners Club, so if you like Alphas, you know where you should be this weekend. And down at Geelong, the Geelong Revival is back. There's the sprint and car shows and music and food and, well, everything. There's plenty to see and do, so check that out this weekend. If you'd like to follow us on In Pit Lane, remember to head to the In Pit Lane YouTube channel. Like, subscribe and leave a comment. Also, we're on Facebook and Twitter, and we're also on Instagram. And that's just some of what's happening around Victoria this weekend in motorsport. Get out and enjoy it. You've been told.
Yes, indeed, you have been told. Now, next week on our program, we'll just let you know that it'll be our final program for this particular season, and our guest here live in the studio will be Australian international driver James Allen. James is probably very underrated in Australia. He's probably our most successful, or certainly one of our most successful international race drivers, racing in the European Le Mans Series, Asian Le Mans, LMP2. He's won a number of races overseas, and he raced last weekend at the Bend in TCR as well. And James will be our guest in the studio next week for our final show of season 2019. So that's coming up next week as well. I'll just let you know quickly, because we've got just a fraction left. I don't know if any of you are interested, if you haven't been yet, to see the film Ford versus Ferrari, or Le Mans 66 as it's known around the rest of the world. I went along to the drive-in, old-fashioned. To go to the drive-in, it was fantastic, and this was a sort of a great drive-in movie. If you haven't been, Christian Bale's performance is just absolutely superb. The acting right throughout is very good. Okay, the racing, the restage racing, they don't have the luxury that Steve McQueen had back in the day when he actually was able to film at the actual Le Mans race. But yeah, he was just. It's a really good film, and Steve, you went to see it. What do you think of it?
I actually thought it was very, very good. You could tell that some parts of the movie were dramatised, I guess, for the Hollywood effect, but overall, pretty accurate historical replication in a movie of exactly what happened. Yeah,
they didn't give too much credit to Lola and Eric Broadley and the people involved in the original design, but nonetheless, it is a really good film out there. So yeah, so if you've been wondering whether it's worth going to see it, yeah, go see it.
And check out Brabham.
Yeah, well, that's yes. Brabham. Unfortunately, by the time we get to air on 31, that will be been and gone. But yes, Brabham. There will be some other screenings of the Brabham doco coming around. Just keep an eye out for them, and perhaps go to the In Pit Lane Facebook page, and we'll keep you up to date with any local screenings. Now, right now, to take us out tonight, we've got live music from Matt Synner, and Matt is playing around the town. You can see him at the Basement Cafe at Latrobe Street this Friday. He's also at the Deluxe Bar in the strangely named and spelt Mooney Ponds. That's happening this weekend as well. His music is on Spotify, YouTube, Bandcamp, and you can also keep up with him on Facebook and Instagram. But right now, he's going to take us out tonight, and he's going to be playing his song "Reaching for You." So until we see you next week and we reach for you, here is Matt Synner with "Reaching for You." Good night, everybody.
These days you fall and hit the ground. Your age will always come around. Your ways have tried to hold me down. Mistakes are taking over now. You can't navigate them inside out. You can't navigate me down. Another day and you are drowning. I'm reaching for you. Another day and you are sinking and I'm reaching for you. Another day and you are falling. I'm reaching for you. Another day and you are drowning. I'm reaching for you. Your life has gone into despair. This fight you hold is never fair. This time your words won't clear the air. The night is darkest when you're there. You can't navigate me inside out. You can't navigate me down. Another day and you are drowning. I'm reaching for you. Another day and you are sinking and I'm reaching for you. Another day and you are falling. I'm reaching for you. Another day and you are drowning. I'm reaching for you. drowning, I'm reaching for you.